Hello everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dark Souls 3 PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we are using the Follower Sabre, which is probably the most popular weapon from the DLC, and for good reason. This thing is kind of terrifying. More on that later. Let's get started with the basics. This weapon requires 9 strength and 14 dexterity in order to wield. When fully upgraded, it has a D scaling in strength and a C scaling in dexterity, and it's got a physical base damage of 224. Now, this is a weapon that is, like most curved swords, nothing terribly unique in the way of moveset until you look at the weapon's skill. And the skill on this weapon, Prying Wedge, is just terrifying. And that's really where this weapon gets a lot of its power and popularity from. It covers a lot of distance, it has a lot of hyper armor, and it deals a fair bit of damage, and it hits multiple times. Now, with this weapon, that is undoubtedly the biggest pro, and there are a few ways that people tend to use it. I personally like to use it as sort of a bait. I like to go for the first portion of the attack and then follow it up later, because you can delay it a significant amount, and that will trick people into thinking you're done with attacking. And that final swing has the most hyper armor out of any of the swings. So, other than that, it deals solid damage, like I've said, and like most of you have probably already experienced. And, even more than that, it has insane tracking, as you saw in the last fight. It will literally spin you in a circle if it needs to in order to track your opponent, which is insane. So that's something to really be careful of. Other pros of the weapon, of course, would be that it's got a fast swing speed, fast recovery to it. You can chase people down with it relatively easily, and that's actually another bonus of this weapon's skill. It does cover a lot of ground, so you can use it to effectively chase people down after you parry them or backstab them or anything like that. It will close that gap, and you can get a hit on them relatively easily. So there's that. But the other pros, like I was saying, you've got good damage with all of your attacks, you've got good speed with all of your attacks, and you've got a decent variety to your moveset, but it's a curved sword, so it's nothing too terribly unique. It's not like you've got thrusting attacks thrown in the mix or anything like that. So overall, it's a pretty standard weapon. It's nothing too terribly special aside from that one skill. And that's it. That's all that this weapon really needs in order to stand out. And as you saw right there, I was able to chase that guy down with the weapon skill itself. So that's something to watch out for. Now, cons of the weapon. Of course, because it isn't too terribly unique with its moveset, parrying it should be something that is reasonably easy to do because we're all used to dealing with Karthus curved swords and whatnot. It's nothing out of the ordinary there. Also, the weapon's skill can in fact be parried. And that's the thing. It's a very dangerous move to try and parry. It's really, really hard, but it is entirely possible. So that's something that once we get more used to dealing with it, I feel like this weapon's popularity will sort of drop off. Maybe, maybe not, but I can hope. Either way though, this weapon is pretty straightforward. I like it a lot, in all honesty. I don't know quite how I like to use it the most. For part of the video, as you guys saw, I was using a shield that actually had the weapon skill instead of the parrying ability, and I really enjoyed using it like that. However, I also, of course, do love having the ability to parry, so it's hard to say which is more preferential, and of course, I wouldn't say that one is definitely better than the other, but with this weapon's skill, it does offer a bit more of a different way of playing. And that's really all I've got to say about this thing. It's a straightforward weapon, guys. The only unique thing about it is that one skill, that one attack, and you can use it in a lot of different ways. Like I said, that hyper armor that it has is actually very effective at dealing with people who use other curved swords that like to just come in and spam you. So that's something to keep in mind. That's a good use for it, and it does actually make it work very well against Karthus curved swords and such. So it is what it is. Either way though, guys, this is the last fight. I hope you enjoyed the video, found it helpful in one way or another. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, and I will see you all next time.